I feel like everybody keeps saying that Instagram is dead. I mean, let's be honest, I've said it a few times over the past year or so, but the data, it doesn't support that. It really doesn't. The data is telling us, or at least telling me, that maybe I'm posting a little bit more like it's 2022 than 2026. And if I get with the program, I will be handsomely rewarded. Brands posted 24% more content this year, and Instagram rewarded them with 27% more views and 19% more interactions. So basically, when you play the game right, good things happen. And in today's episode, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of Metricool's latest report detailing exactly how to play the game right on Instagram. This is the 2026 Instagram study. Metricool is a friend of the show, of course. They are a proud sponsor of the Freelance Friday podcast. You can always use my code Latasha to try 30 days free on any of their premium plans. They're a social media scheduling tool, an analytics tool, basically an all-in-one social media platform, truly. And I'll also link this direct report down in the show notes so you can check it out. I always recommend just downloading the full report, saving it, analyzing it yourself, like marking it up, whatever makes sense for you. It's so helpful when you have clients and you can just point to this and say like, no, here is why I'm making these decisions. Trust me. Source, just trust me, bro. So here is a snapshot of Instagram in 2026. We'll go through not all, but most of this together in this episode. So this study is from a sample of 24 million posts from over 375,000 Instagram accounts. So this is not made up, but this is the real deal. And then they've also got their account categories, which we talk about pretty much every time we do a Metricool study. They categorize accounts by size from huge to tiny. You can take a look if you're on one of the listening platforms. As always, I recommend you watch the video either on YouTube or Spotify, so I don't have to read all the numbers for you. So the first thing that we're seeing here is that essentially the more that you post, the more eyes on your account, which is like, again, this is a hard truth for me because I mean, I haven't posted on my Instagram account in almost a month, which is horrible. We're going to change that. I'm going to post a reel of this report. So they're saying that this is really the place where being seen means staying relevant, and that brands are pouring their efforts into the platform. In 2026, brands have published 24% more content in all formats. So I do feel like there was a time, especially kind of like in the heyday of TikTok, not that we're out of the heyday of TikTok, but I think the newness of TikTok has sort of, died down just a little bit. And I think brands are coming back to Instagram and being like, wait, this is still the real deal. Like, this is still where our audience is. It's where we have cultivated this audience, and we need to not be ignoring it. That's a realization I had, honestly, this year. I was like, why do I not post on Instagram? I don't understand. I think it's that shiny new thing syndrome. Like I said, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, there are all these different things. And it's honestly, Instagram is still tried and true. So you can see posts are up 24%, views are up 27%, interactions up 19%, even reach is up 7%. Now, engagement is the one metric that's down, which is down 7%, and then posts per week are up 9%. So overall, post more on Instagram. Yay. Now, they do make a note that views don't mean what they used to. So it used to be that impressions were a metric that we paid attention to on Instagram. Well, impressions are no more. They've gotten rid of that metric. And so views is the metric that applies to all post types. It used to be just that views were for reels or video content, but now you pay attention to views on standalone posts, on carousels, on everything. So keep that in mind as we're reading through the report. And as you're reading through your own analytics, you're not going to see that impressions number anymore. They note that 8.93% of Instagram accounts have grown and moved up a category. So up one of those, tiny, small, huge, whatever categories in 2026. And they said that growth is more likely when you're small, especially for accounts with up to 10,000 followers. So this is good news. If you are a small account, if you have an idea to create a new account, the odds are in your favor. Meanwhile, somebody who, like me, has over 30,000 followers on Instagram, that's actually where the struggle point comes in. They say once you cross the 10K followers line, growing gets much harder. Bigger accounts still grow, but at a much slower pace. I'm going to say something vulnerable here. This is the first year that I've lost followers on Instagram. I keep losing them. I also don't post. So there's that. I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Probably, who knows? Probably mostly that I don't post and I'm not giving any type of value to anybody. But yeah, I have been slowly losing followers. So I am a part of that metric, I suppose. It's my own personal problem, I guess. But the point of me saying that is, yes, I have over 10,000 followers and I am not seeing this rapid growth. Speaking of growth, TikTok is still the one to beat in terms of growth, right? If you want to grow quickly, if you're starting something new, TikTok is where it's at. 16%. What is this metrics reflecting? Let's see. I think this is how many accounts grew. Yeah, how many accounts grew over the last year. So 16% of accounts grew on TikTok, 9% on Instagram, 7% on LinkedIn, 4% on YouTube, 4% on Facebook, 1% on Twitter/X, and 1% on Pinterest. So, yes, 9%, it's not 16%, but it's also not 4%. So it is certainly still possible to grow on Instagram. That's some good news that we can all celebrate or be stressed out by. Because if we're in the camp that isn't growing, we're like, wait, so it's possible, but it's just not possible for me. But hopefully the rest of this study will help us out with some ideas. So they are highlighting some different accounts that are doing really well on Instagram. This one is Binge House by Sakshi, and they're using her account to illustrate how storytelling matters more than ever. And, this account is all about not just sharing recipes or explaining ingredients or walking you through cooking techniques, but actually using food as an emotional and narrative device. And they say that she turns everyday domestic scenes into stories that feel universal. It looks like she posts short reels with cinematic feel, content that sparks emotional recognition, and captions that work as emotional hooks. So that's a good one for us to look at if we need a little bit of inspiration. Looks like beautiful photography. And oops, what do you know? I'm hungry. Formats. Let's talk about formats because, this is one of the things that I think makes Instagram really challenging, at least for me, is there are just so many options. It's like I get decision fatigue, Should I post this as a reel, as an Instagram story, as a carousel, as a standalone post, And they say that in 2026, brands have published nearly 12% more single image posts, 24% more carousels, and 35% reels. Reels and carousels are both strong for visibility. The algorithm pushes reels to new audiences, expanding reach, and carousels get reserved to users who didn't engage the first time, stacking up views. For interactions, reels are the clear leader, and they say it's not even close. The average reel generates over 4 times the interactions of a single image post, and it's the only format whose engagement rate has actually grown. So we can look here at the number of posts that were made, reach, right? Instagram Reels are seeing plus 11% for reach, whereas carousel posts, 7%. Single image posts are down 22% in reach. Let's see, what other standouts here? Interactions, Reels are seeing plus 32%, carousels plus 17%, single image posts down 25%. So reels. We got to post those reels. Now, carousels are getting a lot of saves though. So, there's that. Carousels get 9 times more saves than single image posts on Instagram. And so I like this slide. They say, when in doubt, swipe it out. Carousels outperform single image posts across every single metric, no exceptions. Every post published in this format gets more than double the reach and views. So basically, yes, if you want to post a cute headshot, post your 3 top options. And even better, ask people which one they prefer. Ask a question. We'll get to that at the end of this study. But single image is just not doing it like a carousel is. They've got the metrics all stacked up here on screen that you can peek at if you want to. Again, download the full report at the link down in the show notes to check this out yourself, but good to know, right? It's kind of a bummer. I kind of get sad. I don't know. I get a little sentimental about like old Instagram. Like I just want to be able to post a single post again, but this is show business, baby. They do have a call out in this study about their Claude agent. You guys should definitely check that out. It is really, really cool. If you use Claude, they have a Metricool carousel agent that actually helps you with the whole process of building carousels, which is pretty amazing. So check that out for sure. Again, use code Latasha to try 30 days free on any Metricool premium plan. Watch time for Reels has more than doubled in a year. This is wild. So it's went from 4 to 8.5 seconds, I believe that is. Yeah, so Reels are truly growing in every format. Shares are the big standout here, up 67%. I have talked about this so much at this point on this channel. Dark social, right? Dark social, it would include a share, something like that, like DMing a reel to your friend's inbox. That's considered dark social, and that is on the rise, right? We might be seeing, let's see, lower comments. I mean, comments are still up 11%, but we're not seeing like this huge influx of comments like maybe we were a few years ago. But what we are seeing is people are sharing stuff with their friends. People are sending it, sharing it to different platforms, sharing it on their stories. So that is a metric to really pay attention to if you're creating Reels is, okay, yeah, maybe you're getting lower engagement, but like, let's dig into that share number. Everything else is up still though. I mean, even views are up 2%. That's the lowest like percentage increase of everything on this page, but they're still up. And then we talk about watch time. So average watch time is up 118% compared to 2025. Pushing total view time up by 139%. Something I'm curious about, and I don't think it's explicitly answered in this study, is I'm curious if it's because people are posting longer reels. I would be curious to see that. I do feel like what I see in my feed at least tends to be longer than a few years ago. Again, I felt like everything was like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, like that, like just kind of repeating like thing. It was really annoying to me personally. Now I'm like, okay, I'm seeing like longer clips of a podcast interview or of a talk that somebody gave or something. And it's just like a little bit more compelling and interesting for me to stick around for. So I am curious if those metrics correlate. Now, here's the hard truth. They compare Instagram and TikTok, and guess what? TikTok is still winning in terms of short form video. So TikTok remains the clear leader for vertical video. Instagram Reels still get 29% fewer views and 14% fewer interactions on average than TikTok videos. That's kind of a bummer, but the pattern does reverse when it comes to carousels. So carousels are where it's at on Instagram. So what's challenging about this is if you're a short form creator, I would love to say, yeah, just post on TikTok, just post on Instagram, but really they both have their kind of sweet spots. So I think the answer is post TikTok first if you're video first, repurpose to Instagram, and then also do carousels there. If you're more static images, post on Instagram first and maybe decide if you want to repurpose to TikTok or not. Now, they do have a slide on stories. Stories are not dead, according to this study. There is an 88% increase in replies, in story replies. So, I mean, fascinating, truly fascinating, right? This has always been how I use Instagram stories, is just like to talk. Like, number one, I think for me personally, it's like where I just talk to my friends, like, or people who want to be my friends, right? And as I like to say, make friends, not fans. So that includes my podcast audience. That includes my customers. Like, I just want to talk to people like they're my friends, whether they're my real in-person friends or my internet friends. And I think we're seeing that, is just talking. I think it also has a customer service aspect. People can ask you questions about things that you're selling or that you're talking about. And it just allows you to kind of let your hair down a little bit and interact with one another. And so that data is pretty fascinating. And we're actually seeing people like stick around more. So taps forward are down 2% and exits are down 6%. So basically, people are actually watching, they're replying, they're like kind of a captive audience. They're not just clicking through, swiping out. They're actually paying attention. So if you have kind of let your story strategy go over the past year, consider just like popping back on. Every once in a while, I remember I'm like, wait, I haven't like shown my face on stories in a couple of days. And it's just like a nice reminder to just like chit chat. I mean, lately I've been just posting me riding my bike. I just got a bike and like I've been getting a lot of engagement. People have been like, oh my gosh, like I need to get a bike or I just bought a bike or keep us posted. And, no, it doesn't like directly help my business, obviously, but I think it's nice to just stay top of mind for people, stay human for people, and yeah, boost that algorithm, right? So if you're looking to know how much you should post on Instagram, the data shows there's no universal answer, but it looks like small accounts benefit from consistency. Posting 7 to 14 times per week is where interactions peak. So that's good. You don't need to post more than twice a day, thank goodness. And the algorithm really rewards the rhythm. Medium accounts have a higher ceiling. Okay, so they can post 14 to 30 times per week. Wow. For accounts with over 100,000 followers, it actually works in the opposite way. The less they post, the more each post gets. So basically, consistency. Don't be like Latasha and go a month between Instagram posts. At least just set a realistic goal for yourself. Sounds like maybe once a day is sort of ideal, but if you can't do that, maybe it's 5 times a week, maybe it's 3 times a week, maybe it's once a week. Maybe if you're like me and you need Instagram rehab, slowly reacclimated to the platform, fine. Maybe it's once a week just to remind myself to post, but they say that the algorithm will reward that consistency. So here's what I was mentioning about the questions. This study shows that posts that include a question get almost 37% more comments than posts that don't. Isn't that wild? So yeah, like I said, the headshot idea. If you want to post your cute new headshot, post the 3 top ones and say, which one do you prefer, A, B, or C, 1, 2, or 3? That helps, right? The comments help. Ask people how their day's going. Ask people what songs they're listening to, just like anything. Just remember to add that call to action to your caption. Don't ask people to like your post though. Don't ask people to do that. Apparently, if you ask people to like your post, you're going to get 5% less likes. Isn't that wild? Meanwhile, if you ask for comments, you'll get 200% more. And if you ask them to save, you'll get 92% more saves. So for some reason, people don't, I've been saying this. I really have been saying this. Like, I think people find it like a little cringe to be like a fan these days, which I think is a little sad. I'm such a stan. I almost created an Instagram account called Latasha the Stan because I wanted to just like have a place to talk about music and entertainment that I like. But anyway, I think it's cool to be a fan. But I do think, for a lot of reasons too, I don't think it's just that people think it's not cool to be a fan. I think there's a lot of pressure on like, oh, Latasha liked this, so maybe this means she believes XYZ, right? Like we're seeing kind of like the over monitoring of other people's social interactions, and that can have some weird effects. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons for it, but asking for likes does not get you likes is the point that they're driving home. They also have some data on mentions. So it looks like overall mentioning does help. So mention other accounts, mention other people. It has a particular effect for tiny accounts, which makes sense. If you're just starting out, you've got to get love from somewhere. Like you don't have an existing audience to sort of lean on. So if you're collaborating with somebody else, there's an opportunity that will help you out. So this one is really exciting and interesting. 70% of Instagram views happen in the first 3 days. This is really important to keep in mind. They're basically there's like a 3-day shelf life on Instagram posts. According to the data, 65% of a Reels views and 61% of its interactions happen within the first 3 days. Single image posts and carousels have a little bit of a longer sort of half-life, 76% of their total views and 75% of their total interactions. But basically, the first days really matter, so make the most out of them. Plan accordingly. And if you're looking for the best time to post, it is between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. That's the latest data. It says any day of the week, 7 to 9 p.m. is when more people are online. Reminder, if you haven't tried out Metricool, or if you have it and you don't know about this feature, they have a best times feature. So once it starts to learn you and your posting rhythm and your audience, it will actually give you your custom best times, which is really helpful. So universally, the answer is 7 to 9 p.m. But you might have a different audience, right? Maybe if you are a nightclub, I feel like I always use this example, or like a music venue, it might be later because your audience is likely the type of people who are online a little bit later. Meanwhile, if you are a daycare, it might be earlier, right? Because parents might be getting on as they're like dropping their kids off or whatever. So it is important to know your best time, but this is a good starting point. Let's go into Metricool's conclusions for Instagram. So overall, brands are publishing more content. Instagram views are up 27%. Instagram is not dead. That's great. That's great news. Format matters. It can be the difference between showing up and getting lost in the feed. So the algorithm is really pushing reels in front of new audiences, and it keeps reserving carousels to drive up views. Single image posts are losing the most ground, so probably don't do those. People are spending more time watching reels and engaging more with them, so that's great. We didn't talk about this one. I kind of skipped through it, but hashtags are not really needed. They really say that Instagram SEO through natural language in descriptions is essential. So it's not about keyword stuffing or putting a bunch of hashtags in the caption, but just about clearly describing what your post is about. Community is your growth engine. So they say if you want to increase your content's reach and interactions, start with the people who already follow you, get them involved, ask them to leave comments, and include a question. And lastly, the first 3 days after publishing really sets the pace. So that is how to win at Instagram in 2026. What do you think? Are you doing any of these things already? Did you learn anything? Is there anything you're going to try? I think my homework for myself is get on a regular posting rhythm. I need to just like treat it like I treat this podcast. And that's what I always used to do. It's just every Friday I would post an Instagram post to go along with the podcast. And I just fell out of doing that. So homework for myself. Get on a regular posting rhythm. I also need to get better about getting people involved in my captions, asking questions, chatting with them, maybe mentioning other accounts when it makes sense. And I think I need to try more carousels too. I don't post many, but Metricool does make it really easy with that Claude connection that they have. So maybe I'll give that a whirl. But let me know what you learned. Be sure to download the full report and try Metricool 30 days free using my code Latasha. I'll have all of that stuff linked down below for you. And I really hope this was helpful. Always a pleasure to go through these, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.